I wanted to find one more term related to this idea of finding probabilities. So that term is the percentile. There are a couple of different ways of kind of getting at or looking at this concept of a percentile, but the one that makes the most sense in context of this class is that a percentile is a number where a certain percentage or proportion of scores fall below that number. So suppose you took the SATs and your results said that you scored in the 75th percentile. That means out of all the students taking the SAT, 75% of those students scored lower than you, and 25% of those students scored the same or higher than you. Okay, so let's look at another example of this. Suppose you caught a fish that was 24 inches in length. Depending on the species, that could be an average size for that fish, or it could be really impressive. Knowing the percentile for the length of the fish you caught will tell you how impressive of a catch you have. So suppose that fish is in the 90th percentile. That means 90% of that species of fish are going to be smaller than the one you caught, and 10% of them are going to be the same size or longer than the one you caught. So this idea of a percentile, the 90th percentile means that area to the left is 90%. So we would be talking about the lower 90%. It's also the same thing as talking about the upper 10%. So all three of those are going to represent the same thing. All right, so in your notes, you have an example about an aptitude test. So then for you to go ahead and pause the video, try these questions out. There's some that ask for the percentage and some that ask for the percentile. And yes, some of them are doubled up, and that's because I want you to really make sure you understand which of these are the same and which are not. So I'll meet you over in the app in just a minute. Go ahead and pause the video and give these a try. All right, so hopefully you gave these a try. Let's go ahead and go through the answers together. So the problem says the scores on an aptitude test are normally distributed with a mean of 18 and a standard deviation of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here in the app, and we will scale to fit so that it'll draw it out for us. And then we're interested in the lower 10%. So if I'm changing the lower 10%, I'm going to use this probability box over on the right. So I'll change it to 0.10 and push enter. And so if you're in that lower 10%, that's a cutoff score of 10.311. Okay. And in this case, this is also going to be the same thing as the 10th percentile. So 10% of those scores are below that number. All right, the next one, we're looking for the lower 32%. So I'll change that probability to be 32 and push enter. So now I have a cutoff value of 15.194. And this one's also going to be the same thing as being in the 32nd percentile. That means 32% of those scores are below 15.194. All right, next part, we're looking for the upper 25%. So the upper 25%, I'm going to need the blue shaded to be on the right side. So I'm going to click the inequality, flip that over, and then I'll change that to 0.25 for 25%. So if you score a 22.047, that puts you in the upper 25% of people taking this test. And this is going to correspond to the 75th percentile. So it doesn't correspond to the 25th because you always have to count the probability below. So if we have 25% is above, 75% is going to be below. So the percentile will be the 75th. All right, the last one, the upper 1%. So I've already got it shaded on the correct side on the right. So I'll change the probability to 0.01. And so if you're in the top 1%, you've scored at least a 31.958. And then what percentile is that? So the upper 1% means 1% to the right and 99% to the left. So that means the percentile is going to be the 99th percentile.